Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are, whenever you are. Hello, thank you for watching my videos. It's Mike. It's March 14th, 2010. Just a bit of a rant today. The Toyota fiasco that's currently going on. I watched a video from Only When Provoked this evening. Now, I'm sorry I switched off the annotation so I could watch the video. I was amazed by one thing. Is it really necessary to tell Americans how to turn their engine off? Is it really necessary to tell them hold down the power button for 3 seconds? Hold the switch selector over in neutral for more than a second? Or indeed, for those cars that still have something resembling a transmission, switch it into neutral and then apply the brakes. If all else fails, turn off the power. Yes, you will lose your power steering. It will be more difficult to steer. It will require more pressure to actually apply the brakes, but the brakes will still be applied. They still have backup hydraulic systems. And indeed, you will coast gently to a stop. Which brings up a very serious point. You cannot be liable for people's stupidity, although apparently in the States you can. This falls into the whole mentality that the US seems to have been sucked into, that it's not their responsibility when something goes wrong. It must be the manufacturer of the automobile. It must be whoever sold me this particular piece of financial instrument. When you stop taking responsibility for your own self, then you start getting into trouble. Are people really that stupid? Evidently, yes. Of course, they are lulled into this stupidity. People could say that people that have these problems with their Toyotas are basically really stupid people. They shouldn't really be driving. Well, part of the problem, of course, is that they're lulled into stupidity. Because they basically get into the car, turn the engine on, and put the transmission into drive. Apply the accelerator when they come to a stoplight or stop sign, apply the brakes, apply the accelerator again, and whenever they get to wherever they're going, apply the brakes, put the car into park, and leave, possibly to go buy their shiny shit. Get back in the car, repeat the actions over and over. Return home. Every day, wake up, do the same thing, go to work. Take the kids to school. There's no thought involved in driving anymore. And so it comes as no surprise that when something doesn't quite work, these people who have forgotten that behind it all, behind the fuzzy technology and the lovely shiny dash, they're sitting in a vehicle that weighs a few thousand pounds. If they do not know how to operate it, they're liable to kill someone, if not themselves. Of course, nowadays, we have all kinds of anti-lock braking systems. We have intelligent deceleration systems. Newer hybrids have auto-charging and all kinds of other nonsense going on. Computers are running your life. You have no idea what your car is doing. Does it come as some surprise when there's a slight bug in the software, and every so often it does peculiar things. Well, you only need to look at your PC, for instance. How many times do you have to reboot that? And don't tell me you've got a Mac, because they too do wacky things after a while. I know there's an awful lot of software in cars. Our company sells software to improve the building of software that goes into, in our case, General Motor transmissions. So government motors will soon be experiencing exactly the same problem. I bet. Of course, right now Toyota is being raked over the coals because they got caught first. Do you think the other car companies aren't in exactly the same boat? Of course they are. They don't know how this stuff works. There's not enough time for testing. You can't test everything. So, before you start going and blaming Toyota, don't fall into the same protectionist mindset that stifled the world economy in the 30s. But America will. and it will be down to stupidity. Now, I don't know for sure about Toyota Prius or Camry or the various cars they have nowadays. I understand that they had some difficulty stopping the car that was doing 100 miles an hour on the motorway, on the freeway, and applying the brakes wouldn't stop. Of course, if we put it into neutral, now I can't guarantee that, perhaps there was a bug in the transmission software and it wouldn't actually go into neutral. And perhaps there was a bug in the power switch that pressing the power for more than 3 seconds didn't actually turn the car off. But the police officers that assisted in slowing the vehicle down explained to the driver how to change things so that the car would indeed slow down. Perhaps putting it into a lower gear, a higher gear, changing gear, putting in neutral, applying the handbrake. I do know, I used to drive a Toyota product. I used to drive a Lexus, and it had an electronic transmission. Now, I am someone who likes to play with the various gears of my car when I'm actually driving, because after a while it gets kind of boring, particularly when you're stuck in traffic. So, I know indeed you can put a Lexus transmission into neutral when you are doing roughly 100 miles an hour. I'd switch from a BMW and the gear went the other way when you wanted to go into manual mode. So don't tell me the cars can't go into neutral. I don't believe it. There is no legislating for stupidity. Of course, when I was a child, stupid people got behind the wheel all the time. They generally ended up wrapping their car around trees and things and deciding they weren't going to drive anymore if they were so lucky to walk away from the accident. Nowadays we have so many safety features. People do stupid things. They take stupid risks. Is it any wonder the cars are not idiot-proof? Peace, love, understanding. Think about things. I'll speak to you again soon.